remind you folks that 2 weeks ago, I confessed that seeing what, I've been taught is the triumphant ride of Jesus into Jerusalem, on that first Palm Sunday. I had a hard time seeing that as a joke. But we talked about it a bit, and I do think that that may be the truth. I have a less difficult time of thinking of Easter as God's ultimate practical joke, played this time not on the Roman Empire alone, but a joke played on Satan. Now, here's what I imagine in my head. God chuckling a little bit, maybe in the planning stage, and maybe muttering, "Well, see who has the last word on this, Satan. Death, you think you won? Where is your victory? Wait until you see what I do this Sunday." Now, the reason we have been celebrating Holy Humor Sunday here at Marvin, it comes from God's big joke on the devil, defeating death. And in the years since I've learned about this tradition, I have seen and heard of more and more churches also celebrating Holy Humor Sunday. Laughter, it seems, really is contagious. In a bit, we're going to share some of our good, clean, fun jokes. And we've already enjoyed some rather, non-traditional ways to sing and hear worship music. And some of you came in your finery, your hats, and your costumes for Holy Humor Sunday. But first, let's take a look at one of the lectionary scriptures from 1 Peter. 1 Peter 1, 3 through 9. "Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. By his great mercy, he has given us a new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, and into an inheritance that is imperishable, undefiled, and unfading, kept in heaven for you, who are being protected by the power of God through faith for a salvation ready to be revealed in the last time. In this you rejoice, even if now for a little while you have had to suffer various trials, so that the genuineness of your faith, being more precious than gold, that though perishable is tested by fire, may be found to result in praise and glory and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed. Although you have not seen him, you love him. And even though you do not see him now, you believe in him and rejoice with an indescribable and glorious joy, for you are receiving the outcome of your faith, the salvation of your souls." Now, there's a lot that we don't know about this verse, this book in the Bible. We don't know when it was written or who wrote it, but it does tell us a lot about the community of faith who would have received this letter. Most likely the recipients were second-generation Christians, and it probably was written about 60 years after the resurrection events. The circular letter, it was to the Gentiles who were believers, but from 5 different Roman provinces, and they were all a good distance away. They were in what is today's north-central Turkey. There's a little bit of code written into the letter. It substitutes Babylon for Rome, and that would have been an insult to the Romans. In Revelation 17, 5 and 6, there's a similar disparagement from John, who calls Rome the great Babylon, the mother of whores and abominations of the earth, who is drunk with the blood of saints. Whew, that's some pretty vivid language, isn't it? Those receiving this letter, well, they had broken away from those Roman traditions, and they were living out their new faith. They were living on the edge of Roman culture and trying to stay just under the radar and not provoke the Roman overlords. The name Christian was used against them as an insult. They were part of a rebellious new faith. They didn't even have the nominal respect that the Roman authorities gave the Jewish community. You see, Christianity did not have those decades of existence like Judaism did. Secular writings from this time confirm that the social position of the early church was not good, especially in this distant Roman outpost. Now, many of their Roman neighbors thought this doctrine of resurrection was absurd. There were rumors about the Christians, rumors that there was incest and infanticide and cannibalism in this new, what they thought of as a cult, and it was widespread, these rumors. There was one Roman writer who wrote about how these Christians snubbed their noses at the practices of worship that were customary there, the worship of Roman gods. And these Christians, they preferred their ragged robes to the purple robes of public office. This writer, Caelus, wrote this: "You do not go to our shows. You take no part in our processions. You are not present at our public banquets. You shrink in horror from our sacred games, from food ritually dedicated by our priest, from drink hallowed by libation poured upon our altars. Such is your dread of the very gods you deny. You do not bind your head with flowers. You do not honor your body with perfumes. Ointments you reserve for funerals, but even to your tombs you deny garlands. You anemic, neurotic creatures, you indeed deserve to be pitied, but by our gods. The result is, you pitiable fools, that you have no enjoyment of life while you wait for the new life which you will never have. If you have not been privileged to understand the concerns of a citizen, you most surely have been denied discussion of the affairs of heaven." He concluded this, that he said that Christians do not understand their civic duty. You see, they lived in a way that was different from the world around them. And for that reason, they were persecuted. A paradox happened 2 centuries after 1 Peter was written. You see, those Roman persecutors, under the rule of Constantine, well, they became the church's biggest supporter and the seat of ecclesial power in the Roman papacy. That's ironic, isn't it? Irony is often found in things that we consider funny. And so I think that it's appropriate on this Holy Humor Sunday to laugh, to rejoice. The passage from 1 Peter compels us to consider our response to the resurrection. Now, friends, we know that there is suffering in this world, and we know that Christians are not immune from this suffering. We see in the lives of the saints of the early church, in the lives and violent deaths of the disciples, in the persecution of the Christians by the Roman Empire, sometimes our faith leads not to avoid the valley, but it leads us to plunge straight through it. You know, in my own life, I've attended an awful lot of funerals. Both of my parents had many, many siblings, 8 and 7 in their families respectively. And almost all of them were older than my parents. Now, I was able to attend most of those celebrations of life, and that started when I was just a teenager. I used to think when I was with all these folks, all this family that I didn't see very often, that it was really odd that we would be gathered after the celebration of life, of Aunt this or Uncle that, and invariably there would be laughter bubbling up among us. Yes, we mourned our loss, but the joy of those happy memories, those funny things from our loved ones' lives as they had lived among us. You know, like when Uncle David was showing off his water skiing skills by daring to sit on the pier with his skis fully clothed and take off, and the plan was for him to arrive back and go right onto shore and be completely dry. Well, I'll let you guess how that turned out. Or it might have been the time that Aunt Nanny was fussing at her younger siblings about holding on to the wagon, and she ended up being the one who fell off because she was paying more attention to the lecture she was giving and not to where her feet were. All those funny stories. I once delivered a eulogy for a family friend who had quietly participated in jokes, and I didn't hear about those until after he died. You see, he had an intellectual disability, and because of that, people didn't expect him to have the wonderful sense of humor that he had. Now, he happened to live pretty close to a liquor store, and he often walked there and he'd hang out with one of the employees who was his good friend. He used to tell church members who came in the store, "I'm writing your name down in this little book. I see you buying that vodka and that rum." It was his little joke. So I ended his celebration of life service by holding up a book And it was not his book, but I told a surprised congregation that it was the little book, and how happy I was to have all those names. Well, there was laughter and healing. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised by laughter that travels with us on our journeys, even on our sorrowful journeys. Easter surely is a time for rejoicing, a time for our souls to live in the delight of a God who is big enough to laugh, a God who gifts us with the healing power of joy. Let the joy continue as we celebrate the gift of holy humor. A little more laughter here.
Clap, clap, clap your hands, clap your hands together. Clap, clap, clap your hands, clap your hands together. Everybody clap, clap and stop. Everybody clap, clap and stop. And now we're going to go. Now we're going to go faster. Are you ready? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Everybody clap, clap and stop. Everybody clap. Everybody okay. I let you breathe. I can't. Everybody clap your hands. Clap hands together. Everybody clap. And now you go. You want faster? Um,
Okay. Again, laughter is contagious, and it's helpful to us in lots of ways, including spiritual ones. That laughter is healthy for our bodies is also true. Now, the physical benefits of laughter include that it boosts immunity, it lowers stress hormones, it decreases pain, it relaxes your muscles, and it prevents heart disease. Those are reason enough, but there are also some mental health benefits of laughter. It adds joy and zest to life. It eases anxiety and tension. It relieves stress, improves mood, and strengthens our resilience. And then there are some social benefits of laughter. Laughter strengthens relationships. It attracts others to us. Christians, that's a good one to remember. It enhances teamwork. It helps us diffuse conflict, and it promotes group bonding. Now, all of these ideas, while not limited to benefiting Christians only, will certainly help us be better Christians. Just look at the social benefits: strengthening relationships, enhancing teamwork, diffusing conflict. If ever there was a time that we needed laughter, it surely is this time. Now, speaking of teamwork, here is your chance to participate in worship. I want you to take a few minutes to open your eggs. And sorry, there's not any candy in them, but you will find a joke in there. An FFJ joke, a fit for Jesus joke. Now, if you open a joke with no joke but a special message, you need to let me know, because I have something special for you. And I want you to read over those, and I'm going to move this microphone down here so you can come to it, because we want people who are watching online to share in the joke too. So if you're ready to read your joke, I'm not going to make all of you do it, but if a few folks would like to, that would be just great. So I'm going to invite you up here to this microphone. Who wants to be first? Surely somebody's got a good one. Okay. Here we go, Billy.
A Spanish captain was walking on his ship when a soldier rushes to him and exclaims, "An enemy ship is approaching us." The captain replies calmly, "Go get my red shirt." The soldier gets the shirt for the captain. The enemy ship comes in and heavy rounds of fire are exchanged. Finally, the Spaniards win. The soldier asks, "Congrats, sir, but why the red shirt?" The captain replies, "If I got injured, my blood shouldn't be seen, as I didn't want my men to lose hope." Just then, another soldier runs up and says, "Sir, we just spotted another 20 enemy ships." The captain calmly replies, "Go bring my yellow pants."
Here you go. You get a piece of candy as your reward. See, there is a reward if you come and read your jokes. Who else would like to share their joke? Come on up. Don't be shy. You want me to read it for you? Okay. Okay. I'll read yours for you after Mike's finished, and you can have a piece of candy. Laffy Taffy. Yeah, get candy.
The question is, why is the barn so noisy? Why is the barn so noisy? Because the cows all have horns.
Oh, da-da-da. Okay. Here is Tam's. Why did the school kids eat their homework? Do you know? Because their teacher told them it was a piece of cake. Hey, Mike, I forgot your candy. Come on up. Bill, read yours. Laffy Taffy.
Yeah, I want everybody to see my knees.
Okay.
The sign on a Maryland convent. Trespassers will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Signed by the Sisters of Mercy.
Okay, that's a pretty good one. Here's your Laffy Taffy. These are some pretty good jokes, don't y'all think?
Women, you will really appreciate this one. What did God say after creating Adam? I can do better.
Here's your Laffy Taffy. And there you go, get some candy. Take one, yeah, take one. Yeah, there we go. Anybody else brave enough to brave the microphone? Okay, Sonia, come on up. These are pretty good jokes. I've tried hard to find jokes that are funny, clean enough for Jesus, and don't really make fun of people too much. Sorry about that, men. That one slipped in, but it's funny anyway.
A pastor was asking the children if they knew what Easter was all about. And one child responded, "Easter, that's when the whole family gets together for a barbecue, and we all shoot off fireworks and celebrate the American independence." "No," said the pastor, "that's July 4th. Another child piped up, "Easter, that's when Santa comes down the chimney with presents." "No," said the pastor, "that's Christmas." Finally, another child raised her hand. The pastor was worried what she might hear said next. "Easter," said the child, "that's when Jesus rose from the dead and came out of the tomb." The pastor was overjoyed until the child added, "When he sees his shadow, he goes back into the tomb." And there will be 4 more weeks of winter.
That's pretty good, Sonia. I have a couple pieces of candy. Okay. All right. Anybody else want to share their jokes? They won't hear it at home if you don't come up here, Barbara. Yeah, come on. Come on. Come on down. That's right. And I haven't looked on my phone, but maybe later on some folks will post some of their good, clean jokes that I won't have to delete, that y'all can read later.
Whoever invented knock-knock jokes should get a Nobel Prize.
Oh, but we had to think about that one. Have a piece of candy. Take one to Frank, too. Okay. All right. Anybody else want to share their joke? And if you don't want to read it, if you want me to read it for you, or I'll volunteer someone, maybe. I've learned that phrase here, that you get voluntold to do things. Anybody else want to share? Frank had a good one? Okay. I'll tell you what, you've already come up once. I'll read it for you, Frank. Okay. All right, here's Frank's joke. What's the difference between a guitar and a fish? What's the difference between a guitar and a fish? Y'all know? You can tune a guitar, but you can't tune a fish. Ba-dum-bump. Yeah, we need a rim shot here. All right. I didn't know I was going to be doing stand-up today. I'd have worn a better costume. Okay, what happens to a frog's car when it breaks down? It gets towed away. Have some candy. You, Tam, you can't have the whole basket. Have a piece of candy. Whose joke was that? All right. Okay. Jane, I'll read yours too. Okay. What do you get when you cross a fish and an elephant? This should be easy. A fish and an elephant. Swimming trunks. Da-da-da. Okay. All righty. Well, folks, whoops. Okay, that's bonus candy for Skip because it's in the collection plate. All right. Okay, here's another one. What do computers eat for a snack? What do computers eat for a snack? Microchips, of course. All right. Anybody else? That may be all that we can stand. Now, if you didn't read yours today, if you will go online, if you're on Facebook, or if you want to email or share it with a family member or a friend, please feel free to use your jokes generously. Now, this might have been kind of a silly diversion, but it does prove the point that laughter does help us to heal. It's a gift from God to smile and laugh, even when days are full of stress and anxiety, and maybe during those times even more so. So I encourage you, seek out laughter, seek out joy, and seek out ways to share joy now more than ever. So how do we share our joy? How do we share the joy of the good news? Well, you all know that. It's worship and fellowship and study, generosity and service. Now, there's not going to be a Monday night group this week, but we will have What's Brewing on Wednesday, 9:30 at Fausto's, and at 6:30 at Untapped Territory. Now, as we work on our relationship with God, we are also called to extend those relationships by loving our neighbors through acts of service. Our blessing box is getting used a lot. And so I invite you to take a look at the list in the bulletin of just some ideas of how you can bless the blessing box and help restock it. You know, you can put things inside in the fellowship hall. Let me know if you don't have a key, and I'll get you in. And also, if you can help me find other blessing boxes. So when ours is empty, they'll have a list of other places to go as well. And also, if any of you want to help me, and I've tried to do this, and I haven't found anyone so far, but there may be an agency or organization that would donate food for us to help us keep the box filled, because it has been used so much. We know that some folks have benefits that have been reduced recently, and we can see that in their visiting the box. Now, if you have questions, you can ask me in person or on Facebook, or email or text or call me. And I invite you to share the good news of all these resources with family and friends, including sharing our worship services and our opportunities for further study, fellowship, and service. I want to remind you that we're planning a yard sale for May 20th, and we're going to invite members of the public who want to participate. They can purchase a space for $10 and keep their profits. And church members who want to contribute to the church's part of the yard sale will begin collecting those items in the fellowship hall and labeling them. There's also going to be a hot dog sale, is that right, ladies and gentlemen? That's right, and a bake sale. So start planning now for all of that. So thank you for continuing your ministries in the community, including this blessing box and our backpack ministry. And there's some needs for the backpack ministry listed as well. Now we're going to get to use these kazoos one more time. We're going to do just one verse of Joyful, Joyful, We Adore Thee. So I invite you to stand in body or spirit. Remember, just kind of hum the tune and the big end, okay? We'll make some joyful noise. Please stand as you're able. Now, friends, as we go from this place, let us go in peace and in joy to share the great good news that we rejoice at, the good news that we discovered at Easter. As Easter people, go forward in peace to share and to love. Amen.